Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Sugar Mama's Fire Play podcast. I am financial planner Canna Campbell. A very quick reminder to please make sure that you read and refer to the general advice disclaimer and my financial planning license details. Please note that in any of my content, whether it be a podcast, a YouTube video, or a blog post, or something you simply see on my Instagram account, please know that nothing is ever personal advice or product advice. It's purely educationally based. And if you ever have any questions, I always recommend reaching out to a qualified and licensed financial planner so that you're always making the best decisions for you and your financial future. All right, let's enjoy today's podcast. So today's podcast is actually about recharging your batteries, how to avoid burnout, how to manage your energy and emotions, but also how important this is in your budget, in your journey of achieving your financial goals and dreams, because it's very easy to go aggressively towards achieving your goals and have a burnout and then have a blowout. All that money you saved, you then blow out on a handbag or a gadget or something else, and you have to start all over again from scratch. Or you work really hard at paying off all your credit card debt, only then to get back in it because you just snapped, you went too hard and aggressively. So the catalyst for me for today's podcast actually came from my own dad. My dad popped over here to our house a couple of months ago, and he called me and said, "Look, are you home? I need to have a chat with you about something. It's important." And I was thinking, oh crap, what have I done? What have I said? And I think I was expecting to be in trouble for something, but luckily I wasn't. Well, not really directly in trouble. But what my dad said to me, he said, "Look, Cans, your mother and I are really worried about you. We're worried that you are doing too much. You've got too many balls in the air, and that you are going to burn out. And we are so worried that you're not only going to burn out, but you're going to burn out so badly that you're not going to be able to recover and get back at a normal functioning level." And initially I was like, yeah, you give your parents lip service. Yep, whatever. Yep, smiling and acknowledging. But then I started to realize I have been working at, this maximum capacity for a long time now. And, I do have a lot on my plate. I've got SAS Financial, my financial planning practice, and I've also got Sugar Mama TV. I have 2 dogs, I have 2 children, and my partner, Tom, works insane hours. He, sometimes leaves work in the morning, 3:30, 4:30 in the morning, gets home late, and works most weekends as well. So, between Tom and I, we really are juggling a lot. And I'm not saying that to say poor me, because there are lots and lots of families out there that are juggling just as much. And there are lots and lots of families out there juggling even more, with even more challenges and pressures. And I guess my parents were sort of looking at this from their perspective. And I come from very hardworking parents. Both my parents had their own businesses each. They worked very, very long hours, but they were also in a situation where they could employ help. So what my dad said to me is, you either need to get more help in here, so pay for more help, or you simply need to cut back, or even better, try and do both. And initially I was very defensive and frustrated because I was like, do you know how much help costs in today's world? It is really expensive. Babysitters, nannies, cleaners, help is expensive, but we do need it. Turning my nose up at getting help. I have help in my house. I have a nanny. I have a cleaner, and I'm all for outsourcing and getting a team in to help you run your life. If you can afford it, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But what really resonated to me was a couple of things here. If I was to burn out, of no good to anyone that's important into my life. I'm no good to my children because I can't run around with them, tickling with them, laughing with them, playing jokes on them. I'm of no help to my partner. How can I be a loving, caring partner if I'm tired, exhausted, run down, and frustrated and angry? How can I be of any help or laughter with my girlfriends? How can I lie there, or getting way too comfortable? How can I sit there enjoying a glass of wine and some cheese and laughing hysterically with my girlfriends when I'm, run down and frustrated? How can I even have enough energy to go for a run or do my beloved Pilates classes? This really made me realize I've got to do something. And then the second and probably even more important wake-up call for me was thinking about my kids. How would I feel if I saw my children working at the intensity and the level for the duration that I have been doing. Don't get me wrong. I think my work ethic is rubbing off on Rocco. I think it's very healthy for him to see me working hard, to see me being really passionate about my job, something I really love. And he knows how much I love helping people. So yes, he does see me on my phone. He does see me sitting at my computer desk. He does see me taking phone calls from clients, after work hours, and he understands that. And whilst I would be really proud of him if he picked up my work ethic, and this is exactly the same for Apple, but obviously she's too young for this now. But what would make me really sad is if I never saw my son taking time for himself. If I never saw him replenishing his own batteries, recharging his own batteries, having time for his own family, learning to be present, learning to laugh at the little things in life, stopping and smelling the roses, because these are really important parts of life. And quite often when we're rushing through life with deadlines and activities and events and, all these responsibilities that we seem to be constantly piling on our shoulders all the time, we can forget the importance of stopping and simplifying our lives. And just, seeing the funny side of life, the awkward moments where something happens and you just can realize, oh my gosh, that's actually incredibly funny. And it's a disaster can end up being a really funny story. And if we're not in that place where we're present and connected, we miss the beauty of those moments. And whilst working hard and efficiently and smart helps build our character, also taking time out, and even if you want to say it, being lazy helps build our character, because we can identify and see those incredible blessings in disguise, those hilarious moments that can, happen right in front of us without us even realizing. So today I want to talk to you about the importance of factoring the management, you could say, of energy and emotions into our lives and incorporating this into our budget, so that when you next do your budget or when you next review your budget, you can actually think about what I'm talking about today. And I don't know how this is all going to come out, but I'm hoping it will come out and the message will sink through clearly to you, is look at your budget and think, okay, and even the way you manage your life and your schedule and your routines and your deadlines, so that you can manage it more harmoniously and optimize your energy levels so that you can achieve your goals, achieve your dreams, and do it in a way where you're not killing yourself and burning yourself out and punishing yourself, but actually do it in a very joyful, busy, and efficient way. All right. So I would have been probably about 15, 16 years ago when I was working as a baby financial planner at St. George Bank. They got this keynote speaker in, and he was a brilliant speaker. I can't find his details anywhere, but he spoke about the energy emotion matrix. A matrix is just like imagine a cross, and you've got the 4 different quadrants. And in the top right quadrant is where you've got maximum energy and maximum high emotion. And this is what we call the performance zone. This is the zone you want to be in. It's where you can achieve incredible things. It's where Tony Robbins calls it, you're in the zone, the performance zone. It's like you're high. You're smashing through your goals. You're thriving. You're leading. You're like a magnet. You're charismatic. You're witty. You're funny. You've got this incredible energy, this laser focus. You're motivated. You've got this charisma about you, and it's an amazing place to be. You feel passionate. You feel connected. You're like a magnet to success. And every time you get a bit more success, your energy levels and your emotions get heightened even more so. And it's a really powerful place to be. It's where I like to say is you make hay whilst the sun shines. You're doing really well at work. You stay back later and do more because you've got the energy and the emotion to be able to do that. You're in a sales role or a commission-based role where you make those extra phone calls and try that harder or really perfect that project that you've been working on, because it's towards the end of it. It's looking so good. It's a great place to be. However, it's one that you've also got to not take for granted because it's not permanent. It doesn't last that long if you don't take care of it. So you need to manage it proactively. You need to be very conscious of how you are feeling. Be in tune with the good things that are happening to you in that zone, but also allowing yourself some quiet time as well so that you can allow that performance zone to last as long as you possibly can. So you've got to be really present with your emotions and listen to what your mind and body tells you that you need to be able to sustain the performance zone as long as you possibly can. And it's important that when the moment you hear something in your mind or in your heart or in your head, that you take action on that. Because if you don't, it will be too late and you'll be pushed out of that performance zone quicker than you realize. And the great thing is, though, when you do this properly, that is, you listen to your head, heart, and mind, and you take the action proactively the moment that message comes into you. It doesn't actually take long to be able to then replenish yourself from this zone and stay in this zone a little bit longer. You recover quite quickly. And this might be something simple as taking a 20-minute nap, or it might be just simply of switching off your mobile phone for 24 hours. Or it might be something like going and getting a massage. Would do whatever your body and mind and heart tells you need to do to try and stay in this performance zone for as long as possible. But then also be very aware of when you need to politely bow out of this. Because as I said, you can't always be in the performance zone. You have to have light at the end of the tunnel. You have to have a deadline. You have to have, a line in the sand where you go, all right, okay, we've achieved that. We've done that. Now we're going to just politely and quietly take a step back and step into the other zone. And that is the renewal zone. That is also a positive emotional place, but it's low energy. It's kind of like, when you're on holiday or say a Sunday morning, you're not busting or bursting with heaps of energy, but you feel happy. You feel good. Life's good. You feel invigorated. You feel happy. You feel calm. You feel collected, but you're also quite tired. You feel like you need to sleep in. You feel like you could do with, some really healthy, nutritious food in your body. And again, this is another place where you really need to listen to your head, heart, and mind. Immediately get onto whatever messages your body and mind is telling you that you need, because this is the place where you reinvigorate your passion. You recharge your batteries, and you recharge your batteries in an efficient and wise way so that you can use your time in the renewal zone in an efficient way if you're ready to and when you choose to bounce back into the performance zone. Because you've got your positive emotion but your low energy, this is the place where you would invest your time in really thinking about your goals, really thinking about your value system. You would be using this time to brainstorm ideas. You would be using this time to think about your goals and your dreams. The dreams without limits, the goals without limits. You think about what you want to achieve short-term, medium-term, long-term, your big picture. And there's a times where potentially you'd have some powerful conversations with your loved one or your family members or your best friends, people that are important to you. It's a time where you grab a piece of paper and a pen and start writing down what's important to you want to achieve. It's important that you don't get complacent in this place, because it is obviously a very relaxing place. It's nice place to be at that Sunday morning or that holiday zone. And, quite often when we come back from holidays, we can get the holiday blues because we miss this zone so much because we haven't used that time efficiently. We want to make sure that we use this properly and wisely. The renewal zone is also, in my opinion, a really great place to get creative. As I said, think about those goals and dreams, but the uncapped, unlimited goals and dreams, and brainstorm and get as creative as you possibly can in thinking about what you want to achieve and how you want to achieve. And I have to say, this is where I've come up with the weirdest, most wonderful ideas and strategies and solutions to overcome all sorts of things that have been stressing me previously. And this is a very important place to be aware of when you step into it, because use this time wisely, as I said, and you'll step back into the performance zone quicker than you realize, and you'll quite possibly have even more energy and emotion in the performance zone than you realized you could ever possibly have before. So here are a few things that have really helped me make the most of that renewal zone and allowed me to, leap back into the performance zone. And these are all really budget-friendly things that I've discovered that really work for me. So one of them is once a month, I get an early bird massage. Now, because it's an early bird massage at 8 a.m., the price is actually 50% off. And I just do it once a month, and I book it in advance. Each time I get my massage, I book in next month. So it's locked into my diary and I make sure I go. And that is factored into my budget. Another really great and really powerful, I'm going to sound a little bit quirky, but a great way to recharge your batteries, and this works instantly. It's called earthing. It's where you lie on the ground, and I can't really explain how it works or why it works, but essentially you lie on either the grass, the sand, or just simply like dirt. And there's something really connecting and grounding about that. And it takes just a couple of minutes and you just completely melt and relax into the earth. But again, really, really powerful. Of course, costs nothing. Another great hack which helps me recharge my batteries efficiently, and this is really powerful for when you're in the renewal zone, and that is listening to a motivational YouTube video. Literally, you can go into YouTube and just type in motivational speech, and there's thousands of them. Normally, I only need to listen to like a couple-minute one or maybe up to 15 minutes, but listening to people's stories and listening to the pep talks on these video clips is just amazing. Literally, just put in some headphones. You don't need to watch it, just listen to it. It's quite phenomenal, how it just reinvigorates and just like it gives you a massive wake up call and, reignites your passion, excitement for life and for aiming for higher. The other things are like, simple things like just going for a walk by yourself. I would normally try and multitask, with taking Apple, taking the dogs. Recently, I found just going simply by myself is actually really helping me recharge my batteries, fill my own cup. Sometimes I feel guilty, but I come home feeling so much happier and healthier. The other thing is obviously having child-free time with my girlfriends, having a good laugh or even just having a chat over the phone without any distractions, again, just kind of brings me back from a burnout zone into a renewal zone. And of course, obviously, it goes without saying, having some time with Tom, with no children, no dogs, it kind of gets to go back to the days where we were a couple that were just freshly started dating. And a couple of other really helpful things, going to bed half an hour early or an hour early or even 2 hours earlier. Oh my gosh, that's so good, particularly for the burnout zone. Like that, it costs nothing. And getting those couple of extra hours sleep, especially because apparently the first couple of hours sleep is your actually the most efficient and restorative sleep that you can get. And two other little things that have also helped, and that is simply leaving the office one day a week, or sometimes I can only do this once a fortnight, but leaving the office early, like 30 minutes early or an hour early, so I can have some extra time to myself. I can beat the traffic, or I can do some life admin on the way home so that I actually feel organized again. I can, catch my breath and I kind of feel like I'm on top of things again, because for me, I hate the feeling of feeling disorganized. I hate, seeing a long list of things to do. I hate feeling, that I owe someone something, or I need to get something to them, or I need to, have this or buy this, because we need it for the efficiency of our home. So these are things that really help. And the one bit of advice I would give is change it up. Whatever you need to, renew your batteries, recharge your batteries, fill your cup again, change it up. The same things on repeat will lose its effect. So when you mix it up, try different things, a mixture of little things and big things, really does help you. And, you never underestimate, obviously, the small little things like the earthing, listening to a YouTube video, a cup of herbal tea, those sorts of things. They really do count. So the other two zones on the matrix aren't quite as pretty. And I'm going to make you aware of what these are so you can avoid them and you know what to do to get you out of these zones. So the first one is on the left-hand side of the matrix, and that is burnout. It's not the worst, but it's one of the worst. And this is where you have low energy, negative emotions. You feel really burnt out, frustrated, sad. You're cynical, you're snappy, you've got adrenal fatigue, and you can also be quite scattered, disorganized, frustrated, and angry at the world. And quite often you're in such a negative, toxic mix of emotions, you can't even actually articulate what is annoying you, what has upset you. And when you hit burnout zone, it's because you have been treating yourself, or you've been missing out on giving yourself that needed TLC for far too long. And that's how you've ended up in this burnout zone. And this is the burnout zone that my dad was talking about. He was telling me he was worried that this is where I was falling into, and this is where he was worried that I would become stuck and wouldn't be able to get out of. This is one that is a toxic place. We really want to be trying to avoid this as much as possible. And one of the ways we can avoid this is by factoring in burnout, anti-burnout, or burnout medication, you could almost call it, into our budgets, which I will come to in a second. Now, if you're in burnout zone, and I have to say, to be really honest with you right now, I think I am sitting on the cusp of burnout and renewal zone. I say to people, I'm cooked. I'm exhausted. I've had a really big 2020. We've had so many things going on. Obviously, we've had COVID. We've moved house. We've had IVF. I've miscarried, done IVF again. I've had other stuff going on with my family. I've also had probably one of my biggest years for both my businesses that I've ever had. And, so I'm sort of seeing that on the cusp where I could very easily tip in burnout, which is why I'm going away to Emerald Beach for 5 days to hopefully get into the renewal zone and completely switch off. So if you're in the burnout zone, this is time where you really, again, need to listen to your head, heart, and mind, have some time alone. And this is a big one that my dad pointed out. One of the things he said to me is, we're worried you have no time for yourself. And it's so easy as mothers, we put ourselves right down to the bottom of the list. It's all about getting the kids their dinner first, making sure that we've got enough food in the house. Has everyone got clean clothes? Where is everything organized and in the right place? Has the dog had her medication? Have they been walked? Have they been walked again? Have they been out before we go to bed? Like, this is constant list of things to do. And then we have our work and we have our friends, and is it such and such's birthday? Do we have a present ready to go? Like, life just gets busy. And as a mother, we just pile it on our shoulders. So, and I have forgotten how to have time on my own. I have forgotten how to have time where I just disconnect, leave my phone at home and go for a walk by myself. This is also a really important time to sleep, to reteach ourselves how to sleep. Up until recently, I have been a horrendous sleeper. I will stare. I'm great at falling asleep. I fall asleep within minutes, but I will wake up at that dreaded 1 a.m. and then be awake from 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. Now, Apple wakes up at 5:30. So if I have just drifted off to sleep at 4 a.m. and she's ready to roll at 5 a.m. or 5:30, I feel horrendous. And I have had to teach myself how to sleep again. I've had to teach myself mantras, affirmations, visualizations, and completely re-changed my nighttime routine so that I have a deep sleep. And I have to say, since doing this, I'm getting my sleep. I am even dreaming again. I couldn't tell you when I last dreamt. And every night I have the most intense dreams. It's incredible. So if you're in the burnout zone, it's rest, it's recovery, it's time alone, it's sleep. It's where you make sure you really fill your body up with the right nutrients, the right minerals. You go and see experts, see nutritionists, naturopaths, psychologists, psychiatrists, doctors, whatever it may be. This is where you really stop, draw a line in the sand, and take care of yourself so that you can get out of the burnout zone, into the renewal zone, so you can then get back into the performance zone if you want to. And then the last quadrant of the matrix is the survival zone. This is the worst. This is living a life purely on adrenaline. It's like, those days where you haven't had a chance to grab breakfast and you just seem to be living off espressos. Well, this is a bit of an insight into the survival zone. It is negative emotion, but high energy. You're living off adrenaline. You're living off fear. It's fight or flight. It's demanding, it's deadlines. It's like you're just constantly being tossed around in the ocean, thrown around from left and right, barely keeping your head above water, but just paddling and for your life, trying to keep your head above water. It is a frightening place. It is the worst place to be. And that is where you must put your hand up and ask for help. You must say, I can't do this anymore. Something has to change. I need to fix this. I need someone to help me carry the load. I need to do things differently. And this is where you stop and take the time to look at your life. Look at what you can take off the table. Look at what you can delegate. Look at the load that you can share. Look at maybe how you can partner up with someone else to share that load if, those resources, whether it be financial or logistical or geographical, aren't there for you. This is a frightening place. And the moment you're aware of that, you're in that survival zone, you've got to do whatever you can do to get out of this. And look, being in the survival zone, it's that saying, what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. And I definitely wholeheartedly believe it. But if you're in this zone, you want to make it a really short zone, but you want to make sure that you learn your lesson from this zone so that you can avoid this happening ever again. And also you can identify if other people are in the survival zone, that you can put your hand up and help them out and pull them out of that survival zone as well. So today's podcast, I want to remind everyone is to pay attention to the zone that you're in. Pay attention to the matrix that you're dancing in between. Spend some time alone, whether it be sitting in the car before you walk into the house, or whether it be sitting on the bus on the way to work, or whether it be just going for a walk, in your local neighborhood. Stop and take some time to, I guess you could say, invest your time, is to question how you're feeling, how you're coping. What's your body trying to tell you? What's your mind trying to tell you? What's your heart trying to tell you that you need so that you can live your best life possible? I also have created this podcast because I want to make sure that you have in your budget some consideration or allowance to take care of yourself. Quite often we can put ourselves on these really tight and tough budgets, and they don't allow for any TLC for ourselves. And I want everyone to have a look at their budget and think, how can I find something in my budget or some space in my budget that allows me to do that, so that I never run the risk of getting into the burnout zone, I never run the risk of getting into the survival zone. And if I'm ever in the renewal zone, I know exactly how to use that time efficiently so that I can make the most of the performance zone when I'm in the zone, and I can make hay whilst the sun shines. So obviously I could list a whole range of fabulous, things to put in your budget. like getting a massage every week or going on a luxurious holiday every weekend or every month. For most of those people, including myself, that is not financially possible, nor is it logistically possible. However, there are lots of things we can do in our life, in our habit system, in our routines and schedules, and in our budget that are actually really helpful, really beneficial. Simple things like going to bed half an hour earlier. Simple things like reading a good book, having a hot bath, spending $10 and getting a foot massage. This weekend I was catching up with a girlfriend and her daughter, who is, I think, 5, we were in this cafe and her daughter came up to me and said, "Can I give you a massage?" And I was like, "Oh, yes, you can." And she gave me, it was 2 minutes, but she gave me the best massage. It felt so good. And that was honestly just as good as getting like a 30-minute massage in a salon or a massage parlor. It was so good. And it was something so special because it was so sweet. So what I'm saying is, don't feel pressure that you need to be checking into some luxurious day spa. If you can, that's great. Amazing. I put that in your budget. If you can afford it, it's never going to be detrimental to your financial goals or your financial journey. But there are lots of things you can do for yourself to take time out. And it could be meditation. As I said, reading a good book, making yourself a beautiful meal, lighting a beautiful scented candle. If you have children and it's really hard to get that time in yourself, why don't you put your hand up and ask a girlfriend or someone that you trust, a neighbor, someone from your child's school, a family member, a friend, a godparent, an aunt and uncle. Can you take the kid down to the park for an hour? And I'll take your kid for an hour. Can you tag team with someone so that you can have some time out on your own? It takes a village to raise children, but our village today has disintegrated. It's really scattered and it's really complicated. And sometimes it's just, even I'll admit, sometimes I just put it in the too hard basket. But if you can find someone that you know and that you trust, perhaps you can help each other find some time for yourselves to factor in a budget-friendly way, some time for yourself where you can take care of yourself, nurture yourself, give yourself the right TLC that then allows you to fill your cup again so that you can manage your energy and your emotions for optimal performance. And you find that you are able to enjoy achieving. And then from that, as you refill your cup, you find that it is so much more enjoyable and pleasurable as you work towards not only your own financial goals, but your journey of life. You embrace it in a better way, a healthier way, because you've had time out to yourself. You've had time to fill your cup. You're far more present. You're far more connected. You see those funny, random, awkward moments in life and laugh. And you also have the grounding and the depth of character to see the important messages that are constantly around us. The universe is always trying to show us and help direct us. So I guess what I'm trying to say in this podcast, I apologize if I sound like I'm rambling, but I highly recommend that we all factor into our budget some money that allows us to invest in activities and habits and hacks that allow us to efficiently and quickly renew our energy so that we can leap back into the performance zone, but also factor into our budget, our schedules, our routines, our responsibilities, the time to actually have time alone, time to self-reflect, where you can really feel, see, and connect with where you are on the energy emotion matrix. Because by doing this, you can act proactively, you can act quickly, you can minimize your downtime, and you can also make the most of the highs. You can really make a lot of hay whilst the sun shines because you're managing your emotions and your energy levels mindfully. And when we manage our emotions and energy in the right way, we really efficiently tackle our goals and dreams. We enjoy the process so much more. We get a bigger, better high. We feel like we are flying, we are thriving, we are succeeding. And it gives us that magical moment where we realize what we've achieved and we feel really proud. And we also feel inspired to stretch further, stretch more, to see what we can do next time. What's the next goal? What's the next dream? How much bigger and better can we really go? And that is one of the many reasons why we really need to make sure that we invest time and money managing our emotions and energy, and having that factored into our budget really helps this. And one of the cool things that comes from when you manage your emotions and energy in the right type of ways, those little niggly things that would really piss you off, really annoy you, make you angry, make you frustrated, make you snap, make you resentful, actually get looked at with a totally different attitude and perspective, a healthier, happier one. even a funnier one. Those things that would really annoy me about Tom don't. I'm able to laugh at them. I'm able to make a joke out of them, where instead of we snap at each other and get angry and maybe even have an argument, we actually end up making each other laugh. And we feel closer and we feel like we're listening to each other more because we're not listening with our defensive ears on. We're actually laughing and connecting and feeling closer and understanding each other, which is really healthy for any type of relationship. Again, having attitude and perspective is one of the many benefits that comes from managing our energy and emotions in the right type of way. And just like any bad breakup, we say time heals all wounds. But I really believe it's what you do with that time that helps. Because when you invest your time in the right type of way, do the things that help you heal, you're going to recover so much quicker. And that is why I really want to make you aware of the importance of factoring into renewal, self-care, self-love into your budget, both from a time perspective and from a money perspective. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope, I'm worried this may have been a bit rambly, and I hope everyone's taking away the key message of the importance of taking care of yourself and factoring it into your budget so that you can sustain your energy, your emotion, and achieve all the goals and dreams of your heart's content. All right, everyone. Thank you again for listening. Don't forget to make sure you are following me on Instagram and Sugar Mama TV. And don't forget, I'm going to be back mid-January, better than ever before. I personally promise it. Ciao for now.
Always look to you for a warm embrace that kept me safe and free from harm. These days, everything's changed. Pull me through my darkest days, a constant phase where everything's a game. Always stuck another day. And I know you needed me to come back home, but I'm not gone, and you gotta find a way to move on. 'Cause the times are changing, the past is rearranging itself to fit the way that you feel, and you know I'll always find my way back home to you, home to you. Days, a constant phase where everything's a game. Always stuck another day. Found ways to break away. In time, I know you'll do the same. The end is near, it'll be crystal clear. And I know you needed me to come back home, but I'm not gone, and you gotta find a way to move on. 'Cause the times are changing, the past is rearranging itself to fit the way that you feel, and you know I'll always find my way back home to you, home to you. I know you needed me to come back home, but I'm not gone, and you gotta find a way to move on. 'Cause the times are changing, the past is rearranging itself to fit the way that you feel, and you know I'll always find my way back home to you, home to you.